بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to another of our episodes presented by the Sharjah Media Corporation entitled The Virtues of Islam. In this program, we've been discussing the virtues that come from the religion of Islam, mainly in two topics, topics of belief and the topics of how that belief is applied in the religion. Formerly, we've been talking about how to define Islam, and that Islam, when dealing with Islamic texts, the Quran and the Sunnah, is either talking about Islam in a general sense or speaking of Islam in a specific sense. In the general sense, it has been talking about Islam as invited to by messengers, meaning they invited to the oneness of Allah. And they invited the people that they should obey Allah by following that particular messenger, and that they should absolutely leave off all their former pagan practices that opposed the oneness that they were teaching. So we came to the conclusion from the Islamic text that you define Islam by saying, Huwa al-istislamu lillahi. It is submission to Allah, bit-tawheed, with oneness, with monotheism, وَانْقِيَادُ لَهُ بِالطَّاعَةِ, and that the people who practice it must comply with it through obedience. وَالْبَرَاءَ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ وَأَهْلِهِ, and that they must absolutely free themselves and forever be innocent of any pagan practices to false gods that they had before they submitted to the religion, and they must free themselves from the practitioners of those false religions, meaning paganism. We come to this place where we talk about the meaning of Islam, what the scholars call, when they write about it and discuss it, the tafsir of Islam. Because you hear people today making tafsir of Islam. They're defining it and they're also making tafsir. But it's absolutely necessary, because Islam came from Allah. And Islam comes in the Quran, is explained in the Quran, and Islam is explained in the Sunnah. And it must be taken from these two sources, and not just from opinion and loose talk or some idea I might have and don't understand, but it must come from its source, the Quran and the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the meaning of Islam, or the tafsir of Islam, is taken from the book and the Sunnah. It's al-Islam, linguistically, literally, is derived from the Islamic verb aslama, yuslimu. It means he entered into silm, or he entered into Islam. A Muslim is the person who entered Islam because he desired as-salama. He desired safety and well-being. As a matter of fact, our greeting, Assalamu alaikum, carries this meaning. Salamatullahi alayka min afa'i dunya wal akhirah. May you have the safety and well-being from Allah, from anything that may harm you in this dunya or in the hereafter. So the person is seeking as-salama. Every Muslim, if he adheres to Islam and believes in the 5 fundamentals of Islam and the fundamentals of faith, al-Iman, he has submitted his face to Allah. And this is the way the Quran in various places explains it, that he has submitted his face. This means he has given up vanity, what's known in Arabic as hawa, explained simply as one who knows the truth but doesn't want it. So he gives up his vanity and he adheres to submission. Istislam, submission to Allah. Verses of Quran have within them the mentioning of the submission of the face to Allah and the praising of one who submits his face to Allah while he's a doer of good. As an example of this is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and I say subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanahu means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from any sort of shortcoming or weakness. Wa huwa ta'ala, he is the most high. The Quran says, Bala man aslama wajhahu lillah. Yes, but whoever submits his face, meaning himself, to Allah. The Quran also says, وَمَنْ يُسْلِمْ وَجْهَهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى. Translated to mean, and whosoever submits his face to Allah while he is a muhsin, meaning someone who does good, then he has grasped the most trustworthy handhold. Also, the Quran says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنَ دِينًا مِّمَّنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ مُحْسِنٌ وَاتَّبَعَ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيفًا. And who can be better in religion than the one who submits his face to Allah, and he is a muhsin, and follows the religion of Ibrahim Hanifa. And Allah did take Ibrahim Khalil. Well, Khalil is the highest level of love. Anyone who submits his face, it's understood that when the face submits, he does not turn away from the one he is facing. Furthermore, the face is the place where focus takes place, and the place where all the senses are located. Therefore, if someone submits his face to Allah, his body, heart, his desires, and intentions will not turn away from Allah. The intention is to submit oneself to Allah. The statement, I have submitted myself, meaning my face to Allah, is the greatest submission to Allah. It means the face is focused upon the compliance, meaning the obedience, while the submission of the limbs are used to physically comply with Allah's commands. The faces submits, the heart submits, and the limbs obey. In addition, the heart submits its purpose and intention to never deviate from sincerity and turning to Allah. And this is the way we come into Islam. We submit ourselves to Allah first. When Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the famous hadith known as Hadith Jibreel, and he came as a student and a teacher showing how we should learn. He came with clean clothes, his hair black and not dirty. He sat in front of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He brought his body close to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then he asked him clear questions. This was to show the ummah, as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is Jibreel. He came to teach you your religion. And the first thing he taught was how to receive knowledge from a teacher. His actions, how to receive knowledge. Come clean, come neat. Sit close to the teacher. Pay attention. Ask your questions plainly. Ask clear questions. So when he asked the Messenger of Allah the first clear question, he said, Ya Muhammad, ma huwa al-Islam? The Messenger of Allah said, Al-Islamu an tashhada and La ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. He first gave the aqidah of Islam. He gave the belief of Islam, the way a person is supposed to come into Islam. That is how we come in. We testify to what we believe. We testify to what we believe is the truth. And then he said, وَإِقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ وَإِيتَاءِ الزَّكَاةِ وَصَوْمِ رَمَضَانَ وَحَجَّ الْبَيْتِ. And just on the second part, then we begin to submit our limbs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? As perfectly as we can. And that is iqamatu salah, as perfectly as we can. Because the iqamah salat is the one who comes to the salat and he does its wajibat. And he does its arkan, or its arkan and its wajibat. And he does the sunnah parts of the salah. This is iqamah salah. This is the one that stops fahsha wal munkar. He does that as perfectly as he can, as he does the other arkan of Islam. So Jibreel ﷺ asked the Messenger of Allah about Islam, and the Prophet said Islam is to submit, to testify, and then submit the limbs. Anyone who submits his face, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, say, this is my way. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Say, this is my way. I invite to Allah with sure knowledge. And I, and whosoever follows me, and glorified and exalted is Allah. And I am not of the mushrikun. The statement, and so have those who follow me, means those who follow me, whether it is the companions or those who come after them until the day of judgment. Those who come after the time of the companions have also submitted their faces and all of their limbs and hearts to Allah. Therefore, they will not turn away from Allah to other than Him. Rather, their hearts, their limbs, and their faces will be gathered together toward Allah. This statement affirms the concept of following Him based upon His sunnah, meaning the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who follow the Messenger's way and adhere to his sunnah represent being firm upon the sunnah and firm upon the methodology, meaning what's known as manhaj. And it means the clear way of practice. And they are firm upon the methodology without deviating from his way or deviating from the way of his companions. May Allah be pleased with them. In the issues of belief and acts of worship, in the issues of belief in acts of worship. Here again, it's a simple issue. When people say they follow the Messenger of Allah and they follow his companions, they mean follow the companions in the issues of belief. They believe the way the companions were taught by the Messenger of Allah to believe in Allah, and anything else other than what they received from him and they taught to the people of belief. If it cannot be proven by the Sunnah, if it cannot be proven in the Quran or the Sunnah, then it's a deviation from the truth. And also, they believe in doing acts of worship the way the companions did them. If someone does an act of worship that wasn't known at the time of the Messenger of Allah, it cannot be religion, because worship solely comes from Allah. It solely comes from the Messenger, meaning only comes from them. And they believe in taking the clear way of behavior that was taught by the Messenger of Allah and taught to his companions, and they spread this way of behavior. Any acts of behavior known as suluk or character, the expression of the limbs, because of the content of the heart, the expression of the limbs based upon the content of the heart. If they do that, truth telling, not being jealous, being charitable to those who, when charity is needed, being a good brother, willing to cooperate, all those issues of good character. And also, last but not least, as in mu'amalat, those interactions between that Muslim and the creation, his contracts, his marital contacts or hers, the way they raise their children, all those issues that take interaction between that believer and other parts of the creation. This is based upon what the Messenger of Allah taught the companions. People are free in their technology as long as they're doing halal, meaning permissible. And they're free in their travel and their means of travel, jet plane or boats or cars, as long as they're going towards something halal, meaning permissible. But in the issues of aqeedah, ma aqada fi qalb, that which is tied to the heart, they must take it from the Messenger of Allah and follow what he taught to the companions. In the issues of ibadah, they must not do an ibadah unless they're sure, absolutely sure, that it came from the Messenger of Allah, that it was commanded by Allah and done by the Messenger of Allah, and that's the way they can guarantee the reward from it. So in the issues of belief and acts of worship, they didn't deviate. The people who submit their faith to Allah do not deviate from that way. So how do we come into the religion? We're talking about the definition of the religion. It's tafsir. How do we come in? We come into the religion kafatan, perfectly. We come into the religion perfectly. And that will be the topic of our next episode, inshallah ta'ala. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الكريم ونفعني وإياكم بما فيه من الذكر الحكيم. I'm Talib Abdullah for the Sharjah Media Corporation. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.